Hello and welcome to our first video on the channel. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. But today we've got our top 8 most likely running mates for Joe Biden in 2020. It's 8 because there are 8 vice presidential candidates that I really think have a good chance at becoming the vice president. So that is why the number is 8. I know it's a weird first video, but he's supposed to announce his vice president by August 1. So I thought we should get it out sooner rather than later. And let's kick off our list with number 8, Tammy Baldwin. She's a senator from Wisconsin. She's a woman senator from Wisconsin, a flip state, which a woman senator from a flip state seems perfect for the job. She's got the experience of being a senator. I don't think it will be her. She's lower down on my list because, one, she's got very low name recognition. Most people probably didn't know who she was unless they were really paying attention before she was vetted by Joe Biden. I had heard of her a few times, but I didn't really know who she was before she was vetted by Joe Biden. She's a moderate. She's not very exciting. And finally, she is from a flip state, which might increase Joe Biden's chances in the state of Wisconsin. But if she is to become the vice president, they'd need a special election in Wisconsin. And if the Democrats are wanting to take majority in the Senate in 2020, they want to gain as many seats as possible, and they don't want to lose any. I know they might lose Doug Jones, but they want to lose as few as possible. If she is the vice president, they risk losing that seat. I don't think they want to campaign that aggressively there. I think they like Tammy Baldwin, and I think they'll decide that they'd rather have her in the Senate as a vice president than as a vice president, but I think she's definitely worth mentioning low on this list. Another senator from the Midwest, Tammy Duckworth, is number 7. She has the best personal story out of any other candidate for the job. She served in the military. She lost both of her legs, which is why she is often in a wheelchair. And it's really just a story of bravery. She had a position on the Obama cabinet. She became a senator from Illinois. And she had been a strong voice in the Senate. She was a very strong voice in the Trump impeachment trials. I don't think it will be her. I think that would be a good dark horse pick, but at the end of the day, I think it's pretty unlikely that Tammy Duckworth ends up being the vice presidential candidate. I think she would be one of the candidates to do the best job, but I don't think it will be her. She's a moderate, and she's not really exciting. So if they want to excite people, I don't think she's the candidate. I think she'd be a good vice president, but she's serious. She's not exciting. And she's not an African-American woman, which might all hurt her. She's also not from a flip state. So I don't think it will be her. At number 6, we have Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of New Mexico. She is another case where she's a moderate Democrat with a high-up position. She's obviously a woman, which will increase her chances. He wants to pick a woman. She's not an African-American woman, but she's still a woman, a governor. She's just kind of boring. She has low name recognition, and she's from a state that doesn't get much attention, New Mexico. So I don't think it will be her. I guess the Biden team vetted her and they liked her. I don't think it will be her, but I think she's definitely worth mentioning higher up on this list, higher up than 7 or 8 on this list. I think there's a better chance that she is the pick than Tammy Duckworth or Tammy Baldwin. I don't think she'd do as good of a job as Tammy Duckworth. I really like Tammy Duckworth. I don't think it will be her, but I think she's definitely worth mentioning on this list. At number 5, we have former police chief and representative from Florida, Val Demings. She's from a flip state. She's an African-American woman, and she's been a strong voice in the House of Representatives. I think she has a very good chance at being the vice president. The only reason I pushed her back was because number 4 was someone who I originally didn't think would have a good chance, but then I heard a lot of buzz around her becoming the vice president. So that's why I picked her at 5 instead of 4. But I think that she would do a good job. She's been a strong voice. She's a moderate. She's got low name recognition. She is an African-American woman, which definitely increases her chances. I think Joe Biden will pick an African-American woman. I think he should pick an African-American woman. I think that would be historic. She's from a flip state, but not a flip congressional district. I think she would be perfect if she had better name recognition, but she doesn't, so that's why she's lower on this list. At number 4, we have Senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren. I don't think it will be Elizabeth Warren. She's a progressive Democrat, which I think she's too progressive, too liberal. She endorsed Joe Biden, which is probably part of the reason why she's getting vetted and being seriously thought about. She's been a strong voice in the Senate, particularly for women. I think she's a good senator. I think she'd be a good pick. I just don't think it will be her. She's not an African-American woman. And she is too liberal. She's also not from a flip state. Massachusetts is not in play at all. It's one of the states that's voted the least with the Republicans, and that's not going to change now. So I don't think it will be her. There is a chance. There's a good chance. They seem to like her. I just don't think it will be her because of the reasons I've just stated. Mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, will be number 3 on this list. I think Keisha Lance Bottoms is the first really serious contender we've seen. I think Val Demings also could be, but I think there's a very good chance that it's Keisha Lance Bottoms. The problem would be her experience. Joe Biden has said that he wants someone with experience who's ready to take over as president on day 1. She's definitely not that, but she's also been a strong voice in Atlanta and Georgia politics, and she is an African-American woman. She's also stood up to Governor of Atlanta, Brian Kemp. I think that she definitely could be the pick, but I think experience might hurt her in this case. At number 2, we have former ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice. I think that Susan Rice has a very good chance at becoming vice president, considering Joe Biden and Susan Rice worked together in the Obama administration. The one problem with Susan Rice, I think, is that she has never held elected office. Joe Biden has said he wants someone who has the experience to become president, and it's not that she doesn't have the experience, but when I think of someone who's ready to be president, I think of a senator, governor, a representative, someone who has held elected office, and she has never held elected office. Maybe they want to make her the vice president so she has held high up office and then make her the president. But I would say that the person who is the vice president is probably going to be the future of the Democratic Party, and I don't see her becoming the future of the Democratic Party. I think she could be a good president. I just am not sure about her experience to be president. I think otherwise she checks all the boxes for Joe Biden, and she could definitely be the vice president. But there's one other candidate that I think would do better. For some honorable mentions, Maggie Hassan, senator from New Hampshire, was definitely in strong consideration for this list. She's got experience as a senator and a governor, and is a woman in a flip state. I just don't think it will be her because she's a moderate and she doesn't really excite people. But it could definitely be her. I would say she's number 9 on my list. Our second honorable mention, Karen Bass, a representative from California. She is an African-American woman, which will boost her chances. I have her at 10 on my list, but honestly, I don't think she has much of a chance at becoming the next vice president or vice presidential candidate. Governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, is our third honorable mention. I don't think she has much of a path to the vice presidency or as a vice presidential candidate, but there is definitely some thought that she will be the vice president, and it's just worth mentioning. And then, of course, our last honorable mention, Stacey Abrams, who was the first candidate to be floated around. Eventually, though, the Joe Biden team seemed to walk away from her. I don't think there's much chance she becomes the vice president, but still it's worth recognizing her in this video. Finally, we have Senator from California and former prosecutor from California, Kamala Harris, as the number 1 candidate for Joe Biden. I think she has the best chance. I think she should be the vice president as well. She's got experience. She ran for president. She ran a pretty good campaign, but eventually had to drop out after the Iowa caucus. She endorsed Joe Biden, which is just one of the reasons why I think she will be the candidate. But she really helped Joe Biden on the campaign trail. She's an African-American woman who's popular with African-American voters, and I do think that the vice presidential candidate for Joe Biden will be Kamala Harris. Please subscribe to this video and like this video. Maybe we can do something like this later on if you guys like it. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you for the next video.